Tunde, can you take us a little bit through Project Enterprise, its past, its present and its future?
Well, Project Enterprise, Mike, is a new concept in my view of building in Thurrock. As I said in Cabinet, now it's the first time in about 25 years where the local authority itself will be engaged in developing properties for residents. So that's a good thing, considering we've got more than 2,000 people on the waiting list. Liaising with RSLs, knocking on the door of the HCA to secure funds, to bring it to Thurrock, to have these buildings for residents, social housing type of properties. So for residents, vulnerable residents, residents who maybe can't afford their own properties and can get on the housing ladder, at least get a property of their own through Project Enterprise. So that's why it's exciting, it's interesting, and I hope it really sees the light of day.
So how many houses could be built? What dwellings?
Yeah, dwellings is the best way to say it, because it might be a mixture. And we are currently in the first phase. The first phase might see close to up to 100, 150 units. What we're doing is working with the HCS, so the Home and Community Agency, to secure funds. But what we are doing with that is redeveloping old garage sites. So it's currently a council land, which many of the garage sites are derelict. They're of course antisocial behaviour. Some of them are being put to good use, but across board most of them are not. And what we've done, officers have gone out, done a thorough research of garages across the borough, and the sites we have developed, we're aiming to develop at the moment, are the ones which we think we can turn around quite quickly. So yeah, between 150, 150, but this is phase one. There will be a second phase in the near future where we hope to be able to develop more.
Another question I just want to ask is the housing list. How does that work? Is there still that bidding system for people?
Yes, it's called Thurrock choice letting, and how it works is if a resident requires housing, if the person is homeless or just considers it a needed property, they would apply to the council. We'll ask them to fill a form, and then we'll assess that form. The basis of the assessment is to basically check their needs, put them in a sort of priority. It's a gold, silver, bronze type of priority. Nothing to do with Olympics, but it's to see the priority. So let's say there's a vulnerable mother with a child or something. Obviously, that would have a higher priority than a single young man. So the mother may be on a gold, while the young man might be on a bronze. And so they bid every week. We advertise in the Gazette and through council's web service, and in the near future that will be on the communications coming out from the council, and we'll be advertising there so people can put in their bids. And if you win the bid, then you fortunately get a property. So that's basically how it works. The same type of system is operated across the country, if I'm correct.
And leading on to the possible budget cuts, is your portfolio affected in any way, possibly?
I wouldn't use the word budget cut. I'd say savings. It might be semantics, but yes, housing is affected. There's no portfolio that's isolated. Even though housing funds is mainly the HRA, which is sort of ring-fenced, we do have a general fund budget, and we also have to find 77% worth of savings, which comes to about £70,000. So yes, it is affected. But what we've done, we've walked up options with officers to identify the areas which would least affect residents, because, as I said, there is a huge need for housing in the borough. So we've identified those options, we've identified the savings, and as you will recall, it was presented to Cabinet last week, Wednesday.
Are you confident that it all can get through full council in December?
Well, December is one point, then February is the main point, because the December full council is really just setting the scene, so to speak. But what we're doing now, Mike, is that we are consulting with overview and scrutiny. So basically everybody is aware of the details. In the past we've been accused of not presenting the budget with enough time for the scrutiny committees to have their full comments and recommendations, and now we've done that. So that's going on. I don't know if you were there yesterday, there was the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee who was the first to look at it. And it will go through that process, come back to Cabinet, and then eventually go to the Council. Everybody would have the opportunity to have a look at it. And after all that, after everyone's views have been taken on board, I'm optimistic that it should go through in December. Because at the end of the day, we are all aware of the times we're in. And then I've seen some of the clips on your Ojetola where we're talking about don't cut here, don't save there. We have to make the savings somewhere. It can't be a case of not in my backyard, not in my portfolio, not in the housing. We have to look at it across board to deliver the budget. And no matter who is there, hopefully we'll be there this time next year. No matter who is there, there are tough decisions to be made that are going to affect all of us.